So tropism is a plant's growth toward or away from a stimulus. Okay? So I think in the next slide we're going to talk about the different type of stimuli. The most common stimuli are light, gravity, and touch. Okay? Light, gravity, and touch are the most common stimuli that plants would receive. You see the picture here where the plant is growing toward the sun. Okay? And then you see where it's growing away from the stimulus, which we'll get to that here in just a second. So growth toward the stimulus is called a positive tropism. We'll get to that in just a minute. And away from the stimulus is called a negative tropism. Okay? First, we're going to talk about stimuli. Now, stimulus. Stimulus is anything that causes a response from a plant or anything. You know, stimuli are anything that causes something to respond to something. Again, the positive tropism is when it grows toward a stimulus and toward the light. We know that a lot of plants will grow toward the light. Trees will even grow toward the light. Believe it or not, there's a lot of this information that I've learned about trees and plants as I've been studying this. I knew some of it, but some of this I didn't know that I didn't. Well, we'll get to that and I'll tell you what I didn't know. But there's negative tropism, and that's when they grow away from the stimulus, okay? So, if you notice that the most common stimuli that produces tropism is, like I told you, light, gravity, and touch. And again, you remember how I told you that you could, take these notes quicker, like if you didn't want to write this whole entire sentence here, then you can just put stimuli, common, and then write light, gravity, and touch. Those are easier ways to write and take notes if you need to. Just giving you little tips there, or you can write the whole sentence. But to make it quicker for you, because as you get older and you're with, even as closer to the end of the year, then I won't give you a whole lot of time. I won't stop and wait for you to take these notes because you need to learn to do them fast. Okay? And one way, if I was in college or high school or school making notes, if I wanted to go positive stimuli, I might even give a positive sign, or a negative stimuli, or a negative tropism, or positive. It's just an easy way to do that. Yes. Quickly, you have to catch up, okay? Because I may not stop. All right. So we're going to get into the specifics of the common stimuli. There is also something called hydrotropism. That's not spoke about in this particular lesson, but I wanted to bring it out to you. You have any idea what you think hydrotropism might be?
Sounds like something water.
It's the ability of plants to grow toward water. Yes, the ability of plants to go toward water. The stimuli could be water, and it grows toward water. All right, you ready to move on?
Is high a keyword?
Huh?
Like if they're going high?
No, it's hydro. Hydro means water.
Hydro, water. Yeah, it's talking about water. Okay, so then light. Let's talk about light. Light is one of the stimuli, and it's a positive phototropism, which means it grows toward the light. And this typically happens with stems, because roots grow away from the light. When you have the sun over here, okay, and you have a plant, okay, and then it has some roots. We're just going to make these roots like this. Okay? well, maybe it's going to be away from the sun. And then your flower may grow toward the sun. You can see these a lot with sunflowers and things like that. It's going to grow toward the sun. All right, so then you have gravity, which the position gravitropism, growing toward the pull of gravity. This is the roots, like if it's on the side of a hill, that gravity is going to pull that tree down, okay? And then you have touch, which is thigmotropism, and that's growing toward an object the plant touches, like at vines. You guys seen climbing vines? And sometimes people put wooden lattice up, and those, I bet you have, because hibiscus is a well, hibiscus doesn't grow like that, but
Yeah.
clematis does.
My dad puts a bunch of vines up our garage, and I don't know why.
But that's stimulated by touch, because it touches, and that's what causes it to climb. Sometimes they call them climbing vines, or black-eyed Susans also is one that works that way. In the book. All right, so hormones. What are hormones? Well, hormones are a small chemical made by some plant tissues that affect how other plant structures grow. Okay, let me go. Okay, so then I'm just going to talk about the 4 hormones. So, how does a plant grow toward or away from light? How does a plant know to grow at all? Well, that happens all because of the hormones that they have in their structure. They move easily from cell to cell and even from the tissue to another. They can cause plant cells to grow in size, depending on what kind of hormones they have, divide, stop growing, continue growing. Right now there are 4 hormones that we're going to talk about. There are more. I learned that, but these are the 4. Yes. Quickly, yes. The 5th hormone is gibberellins, which causes the cells both to grow and divide, and it has something to do with the production in the roots. And then whatever's produced, it carries up to the plant. But your textbook doesn't go over that one. It goes over auxins, cytokines, abscisic acids, and ethylene, which is a gas. Okay? Now back here and see. So, growth control. These are your 4 important hormones, and they are auxins, cytokines, abscisic, whatever, and ethanol. Now, the textbook, or this doesn't tell you, and you won't have to know exactly what these hormones do, but I'm just going to give you an idea of what they do, okay? But you just really need to write down the names of them. So, the auxins typically causes the shoots. Anybody know what the shoots are?
No.
And stems. It's like a starter. Shoots and stems to grow. Of course, that happens through cell division. But you don't have to write this part down in red, but I just want you to understand. You only have to know. Now, when you get on up into biology and things like that, you'll get into this a whole lot more. Now, cytokines are really the opposite of what auxins do. So they are the opposite of auxins. Now, they help control whether a plant will be tall or short. And I'm just going to put on here controls the height of the plant.
We don't have to write this down, right?
Nope. But I just want you to be familiar with it, okay? Abscisic acid, let's just call this the acid group. And this group actually prevents the seeds from sprouting before they are released. So it controls from the plant cell. It controls the release of the seed, is how we will sum that up. It controls the release of the seed. In other words, it keeps it from releasing too soon or too late. Ethanol is a gas. Now, this actually causes actually it causes the fruit to ripen. You might write this one down. Causes the fruit to ripen. May not, it might be a bonus or something, but this also will help the tree from losing a lot of sap as the leaves fall and things like that. But it does control the fruit to ripen. Okay? Any questions on the hormones of the tree? All right, short day and long day plants. Okay, we are on page 179. And as the days become shorter and cooler in the fall, and many plants have finished flowering for the year, then the mums begin to blossom. And these are all because of some are short day plants and some are long day plants and some are critical night plants. But a short day plant is a plant that does not bloom until the nights are longer than the critical night length. So what? Yes.
We used to go to school.
Need nights that are longer. Okay. And some examples are strawberries here. You see strawberries? Anybody know what this one is?
Oh, is that a honeysuckle?
Nope, it's a Christmas cactus. That's some examples of short day plants, okay? In other words, they need a shorter day and a longer night. It's a good way to put it.
Both look weird.
Okay, so this is two examples of short day plants. Talk about long day plants. A plant that does not bloom until the nights are shorter than the critical night length. Now, what time of year is are the nights usually longer?
Winter.
I mean shorter. They're longer in the winter, but they're shorter in the summer. Okay, notice this is cabbage.
And lettuce? Oh, no, it's cabbage.
At cabbage and spinach. This is just two examples of that, and you might want to write some examples down under your notes, but these couple of examples, there's a lot more to that. But plants are sensitive to sunlight. Some need more sunlight, some need less. Of course, that determines if they are a short day or a long day. Another one is poinsettias is a long day, or is it a short day? Oh, they're short day actually. I was thinking they were long day. It's a short day. All right, yes. Day neutral plants. And that is a plant that blooms whenever the conditions are right, regardless of the length of days. So basically they just bloom when they're ready. Okay, and tomatoes is one example of that. Okay, so they have to have the right temperature, the moisture in the ground. Of course, we need to water our gardens and things like that. So they got to have all those right things. They won't grow in the wintertime. They can't thrive in that type of soil. But they grow whenever the conditions are right, meaning temperature, and they have enough moisture, regardless of the length of the day. Cucumbers is also another example of a day neutral plant. Why is that? Well, they grow in a garden typically, and they grow whenever the conditions are right. Now, flowering control, but we're just going to kind of talk a little more about it. So short day and long day plants have chemicals that help control when the plants flower, which means that maybe they thrive more so when they get more sun or when there is less sun. Okay, it just depends. It takes a lot of work to produce poinsettias for Christmas. Typically, they need about 13 hours of darkness, I think I read. Yeah, and they really need, I think, 13 hours of darkness for several weeks, like 6 weeks. Let me see if I'm right. Yep, 6 weeks, for 6 weeks. I mean, that's pretty specific for a plant to grow. But boy, poinsettias at Christmas are gorgeous. I know you've all seen them.
I haven't.
You never seen a poinsettia? You've been to Walmart, you've seen a poinsettia at Christmas.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, we'll show you in a minute. Now, we can discern that raising plants for their beauty is consistent with a biblical worldview. You don't have to write that down, but just know that, okay? All right, everybody got this or almost? Now you're going to complete your terms, which are from page 188. And this is terms for 9A. Okay? We're done with notes. Like I said, this chapter's short.